What is sportsmanship?
Hey guys, welcome back to the series for week number 21. A little bit late this week. And, well, this race is on lap 1 out of 10. It's also the final lap, so the game is definitely the idiot here. But as we ride on board with TCR Gava here, as we head up to the first braking zone, we're going to have a bit of a mishap from him and then a bit of a spin from behind. So we're going to go from second all the way down into last place. So that did not go too well for him. But he has sort of fought his way back up because other people have had things not quite go to plan. So we're back up into 7th place already, and then coming up to what would be the final corner of the first lap, is now the final corner of the race. We're going to be bumping someone and going up into 5th, and it was indeed the end of the race. So that was a peculiar one, but hey, at least you didn't have to do 10 laps of Dragon Trail Seaside. And then next up at 7, we are doing 10 laps of Dragon Trail Seaside as we head into the pits. That was a very small cut of the pit lane, but nonetheless it is going to be a 3-second penalty, his own fault. And of course we're going to be angry at the car behind, so you know, a bit of blocking and a bit of contact as a result as we head up into this hairpin. And now we are extremely upset. We're going to start slowing down here and just basically trying to stop the Toyota from getting past. But this is going to be idiotic from both drivers because, I mean, this is completely unnecessary. We're going to pick up another 1.5 second penalty. Congratulations. And then we're going to be trying to block the Toyota, but we're going to eventually get past. And that could have been a pretty comfortable first, but it's going to end up being second. And then next up at 6, we have got Gran Turismo 7's premier dive bomber. I mean, these are coming out of absolutely nowhere.
Yikes! And away!
And that is just the first corner. And there's going to be quite a few more corners like that.
Yikes! And away!
So it's a pretty persistent thing. I think a lot of it's down to a lack of race experience.
Yikes! And away!
But at the same time, you do have to know that this is a little bit too far back to be doing this all the time.
Now then, yikes! And away!
So yeah, I mean, man, if you're watching, you're a little bit too far back to be dive bombing this consistently.
Yikes! And away!
And one final attempt on the last lap, and it's going to end up costing us 2 positions. So those guys deserve to be in front of him. And then next up at 5, we have got some more Dragon Trail Seaside, and this is just making his way through the race, starting in 14th place. And just look there, that we have got positions gained on the left hand side of the screen, so you can keep track with how smoothly this lap is going to go for him and how rough it's going to be for most of the lobby. So we've got someone else getting crashed off there. We're up 4 positions, 5 positions, and we're just going to fast forward a little bit towards the S's. Cars getting side by side, and eventually we're going to have 2 cars punting each other off, up 7 places for half a lap, and we are going to end up with 8 positions for 1 lap for having not really done much. And then next up at 4, we are sticking with Dragon Trail Seaside. As you imagine, when there's Group 3 at Dragon Trail, it makes a very common appearance in this series. So we're going to have someone get spun at the first corner. I mean, 3 guys going 3 wide into that corner is never going to work out. I mean, as we come into the hairpin, a little bit of contact from the BMW behind, and then I hate to tell you this, mate, but I think this might have been your fault. So as we go there, a little bit of dive bomb, I suppose.
So when they're back there, if he wanted to stay in the race, you'd have seen 2 puffs of blue smoke from his front tyres, where that gap was always going to disappear. He was driving into a disappearing wedge.
So let's have a look at what happened. I don't think that was all caused by that, but certainly some of it was. But as we head up to the end of the S's, we are now down into 12th place. And that's very quickly going to change because we're going to have just an absolute disaster, and we're up into 7th place. And then 2 wide through the death chicane, never going to happen. I suppose a late bit of karma, unfortunately, for Ibra. But yeah, he probably got dealt a bit more karma than he deserved there. So down into 13th place now, make that 14th. Let's have a look at how that happened for the GTI. Is going to get pushed wide a bit, collected by someone else behind. Going to keep it together, at least for now. And then as we go through the S's, it's not quite going to end up too happy for him as he goes wide, and the carnage just begins. So starting the top 3 this week, number 1 was chosen by my patrons. So if you would like to have your vote for next week to decide which one gets to be number 1, the Patreon link is in the description. It would be massively appreciated. But we have got this alpha at the moment who's going to, if you look at his name, he's going to experience a bit of roidy rage. He's a little bit angry. He has been not the keenest driver so far. And it's just going to be, I mean, that was probably not the ideal way to overtake someone. We're just fighting here with time and eventually going to get past. But as we jump forward a little bit, we're going to try and block time for no reason. And it's going to end up backfiring pretty badly as we end up crashing into the wall. And we're going to be down into, well, it could be worse because he's down into 3rd place only. So let's have a look at that blocking attempt. It's backfired pretty horrendously and into the wall. And then jumping to lap 6, we're going to have another crack at the other alpha.
Oh, and that's a bad mess.
But I think low enough rated that he goes straight through him.
Warning, the following program contains scenes of graphic stupidity.
And then taking the number 2 spot, that reversing probably actually saved him. So, I mean, what's about to happen is nothing short of apocalyptic. So let's have a look here as we have everyone going into the first corner at Red Bull Ring. Gonna mostly get that okay, but the straight is going to be the big challenge here. So let's have a look up in front. We've got a few guys wrestling. And a little bit of side contact there, but we're up into 3rd. We were down into 9th briefly, so let's have a look at that from someone else's perspective. This could have really been our submitter's perspective if he had not hit reverse in the beginning. This guy was looking at an easy 1st place, but just got collected. He was probably so happy until that happened. And then jumping ahead, we are going to be having the guy who is in 1st running off the track on the left-hander all by himself. And we're up into 1st here, but we've got someone else sneaking through. And as we go to the next left-hander, we are going to indeed secure 1st place. So that is reverse to 9th to 1st, all in one lap. And then taking the top spot, who could it be other than Kimi? So we're going to be wrestling here and just, you know, that's traditional Kimi. He's actually, to his credit, kept it clean for 2 laps up until this point, so that's pretty good by his standards.
He's all right. He's resting.
So we have started the onslaught on the lobby. That is a fairly clean overtake from the other car. And as we head up to the right-hander here, we're going to decide to defend ourselves and just shove up the inside there. Just push his way past, really.
Ah, don't stop it! Self-defense! Clearly, self-defense! What have I done?
And then end up spinning him, and then end up spinning someone else.
What have I done again?
And then we're going to end up blocking pretty much the rest of the lobby and shoving Valkyrie into the wall there, and we're down into 5th place.
What have I continued to do?
And then jumping ahead, we managed to get back up into 3rd place, and that is completely unprovoked. Well, so that is how we're going to get 2nd.
You calling me a murderer?
And then jumping ahead again, we got a half-second penalty here for Kimi as he tries to fight the Jaguar liveried Subaru. And he's going to have a half-second penalty to serve, so the other car is going to survive that one. But the same can't be said for Kimi, really, because he's going to end up crashing off, and that is traditional Kimi.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment.